Have you ever felt like the world is just too big and your dreams are way out of reach? Let me tell you a story. The story of a boy who started with nothing but a curious mind and an unstoppable hunger to learn. He wasn't born with superpowers. He wasn't a billionaire's son or a genius from the start. But what he had was passion, determination, and a deep love for learning. And with those tools, he grew into one of the most powerful and influential people in the world. That boy is Bill Gates. Today, his name is known around the globe, a symbol of success and innovation. But his story isn't just about getting rich. It's about believing in your dreams, working hard, and turning big ideas into reality. It's about not giving up, even when life gets tough. In this session, we'll go back to the beginning of his journey. We'll explore his childhood, his boundless curiosity, the challenges he faced, and how his love for computers first took root. By the time we finish, you won't just know more about Bill Gates' early life, you'll also feel more motivated to chase your own dreams. And as we go through his story, pay attention to new English words and expressions. Just like Bill Gates, who believed in learning something new every single day, you can build your skills too, step by step. Bill Gates was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington, USA. He came from a warm and supportive family. His full name, William Henry Gates III, was passed down from his father and grandfather. No one could have imagined that this small boy would one day become a global icon. His family lived a comfortable, middle-class life. His father, William H. Gates Sr., was a tall, disciplined lawyer who believed strongly in the power of hard work and education. His mother, Mary Maxwell Gates, was a smart and kind woman, a teacher who later became a member of several corporate boards. Even as a baby, Bill was full of curiosity. His parents often joked that he could stare at something for hours, trying to figure out how it worked. That natural curiosity would go on to be one of his greatest strengths. From a young age, Bill showed signs of brilliance. He loved reading and would devour any book he could find. By the age of 7, he was already reading about science, history, and even law. His favorite spot was the family's little library, where he could sit for hours with a book in his lap. But Bill wasn't perfect in school. In fact, he was often bored because the classes didn't challenge him. He didn't enjoy following strict rules, and some teachers said he was too restless. But his sharp mind made him stand out. One day, when he was just 9 years old, a teacher asked him, "Bill, why do you always look distracted in class?" He replied confidently, "Because I've already read the book." His parents realized that Bill needed a more stimulating environment, so they enrolled him in Lakeside School, a prestigious private school that encouraged bright students to explore and grow. That decision would change his life forever. It was at Lakeside that Bill discovered something even more exciting than books: computers. In the late 1960s, computers were incredibly rare, but Lakeside had one, and Bill was instantly hooked. Back in those days, computers were nothing like the sleek devices we have now. They were huge machines that filled entire rooms and were only found in big companies or universities. But surprisingly, Lakeside School had one. And from the moment Bill Gates laid his hands on a keyboard, he was hooked. To him, it felt like discovering magic. Bill spent countless hours in the computer room, teaching himself how to program. His passion was so intense that he would often skip his other classes just to be there. At first, his teachers were frustrated, but over time they began to see something special in him. One day, his math teacher even said, "Bill, I think you might change the world someday." And Bill didn't waste any time. By the age of 13, he had created his very first computer program, a simple game of tic-tac-toe where the user could play against the computer. It might have been a small achievement, but for Bill it was a huge moment. It showed him the power of programming and what could be possible. During his time at Lakeside, Bill met someone who would become a lifelong friend and business partner, Paul Allen. Paul was older, quiet, and thoughtful. Bill was younger, energetic, and full of ideas. They were different in many ways, but they bonded over one thing: a deep love for computers. They would spend hours talking about technology and dreaming about the future. One day, Paul told Bill, "I believe that one day there will be a computer on every desk and in every home." That idea seemed crazy back then. Computers were expensive and only used by large businesses, but Bill believed it too. Together, they began working on making that dream a reality. By the time Bill was just 15, he and Paul had already started their first business, a company called Traf-O-Data. They developed a program to analyze traffic data for cities and earned $20,000 from the project, an incredible sum for two teenagers in the 1970s. That experience taught Bill a powerful lesson. Success isn't just about having good ideas, it's about taking action and turning those ideas into reality. It showed him that big dreams require hard work, courage, and risk-taking. But Bill wasn't all work and no play. At Lakeside, he had a fun and curious side too. He liked sitting next to the girls in class, not to flirt, but because he thought girls were more focused and disciplined. This helped him become more comfortable talking to different people and forming strong connections. He was also fiercely competitive. Bill loved challenges and often bet with friends on who could solve a problem the fastest. He hated to lose and would go to great lengths to come out on top. Of course, his parents sometimes worried about how obsessed he was with computers. One evening, his mother told him, "Bill, you can't spend your whole life in front of a computer." Bill just smiled and said, "Why not, Mom? One day computers will change the world, and I want to be a part of it." Even as a teenager, Bill wasn't just interested in programming for fun. He had big dreams. He wanted to build something meaningful. He dreamed of starting a company that would make computers accessible to everyone, not just businesses, but ordinary people too. At Lakeside School, Bill Gates and Paul Allen would often stay up late into the night, talking about their dreams. They didn't have all the answers, but they shared something powerful, a vision for the future. In 1973, when Bill was just 18 years old, he got accepted into Harvard University, one of the most prestigious schools in the world. His parents were overjoyed. They imagined he would follow in his father's footsteps and become a successful lawyer. But Bill had a different path in mind. While many of his classmates studied law, history, or medicine, Bill spent most of his time in the computer lab. He often skipped classes to work on programming and to write code. He loved solving problems and building software that could make computers faster and smarter. One day, a Harvard professor asked him, "Why don't you focus more on your studies instead of spending all your time with computers?" Bill smiled and replied, "Because this is the future. Computers will change everything, and I want to be ready." Even at Harvard, Bill's passion for technology set him apart. He wasn't just another student. He was a visionary. Then, in 1974, something happened that would change his life forever. A company called MITS, Micro Instrumentation and Telemetry Systems, released the first personal computer, the Altair 8800. It was a huge breakthrough. Until then, computers were massive, expensive machines only used by big companies or universities. When Bill and Paul Allen saw the Altair, they knew it was their moment. They believed personal computers would one day be everywhere, in homes, schools, and offices, and they wanted to help make that happen. One night, Paul called Bill and said, "This is it. We need to move fast, before someone else does." Bill didn't hesitate. They decided to build software for the Altair to make it more useful and powerful. There was just one problem. They didn't actually own an Altair. They had to write the software from scratch using only their knowledge, imagination, and a lot of determination. It was a huge risk, but Bill believed they could pull it off. In 1975, at the age of 20, Bill made one of the boldest choices of his life. He dropped out of Harvard to start a company with Paul Allen. You can imagine how his parents felt, worried, disappointed, and confused. His mother asked him, "Bill, what are you doing? Harvard is your future." And Bill calmly replied, "No, Mom, this is my future. Computers are my passion, and I can't let this opportunity pass me by." It wasn't an easy choice. Walking away from one of the best universities in the world to launch a business with no guarantees took courage, but Bill believed in his vision. That same year, Bill and Paul founded a company called Microsoft, short for microcomputer software. Their mission was simple: to create software for personal computers. The beginning was anything but easy. They had no office, no money, and no team. Just two young men with a dream and an unshakable belief in the future of technology. Bill worked day and night, writing code and building the foundation for what would become one of the most successful tech companies in history. While Bill focused on writing code and meeting with potential clients, Paul Allen took charge of building partnerships and spreading the word about their new company. Their hard work soon began to pay off. The software they created for the Altair 8800 turned out to be a big success, and other companies started to take notice of Microsoft. As Microsoft grew, Bill realized he couldn't do it all by himself. He needed a team of talented people who were just as passionate about innovation as he was. So he began hiring the best programmers and engineers he could find. Bill was a demanding leader. He expected excellence from his team and led by example. He often worked late into the night, sometimes staying in the office until 2 or 3 a.m., making sure every line of code was perfect. He believed that greatness doesn't come from talent alone. It comes from giving your best effort every single day. In 1980, Microsoft got its first major breakthrough. IBM, one of the biggest tech companies at the time, was building a personal computer and needed an operating system for it. An operating system is like the brain of a computer. It controls how everything runs. IBM approached Microsoft and asked if they could provide one. Although Microsoft didn't have an operating system ready, Bill didn't say no. Instead, he confidently told IBM that Microsoft would deliver. Bill quickly bought the rights to an existing system called QDOS, improved it, and renamed it MS-DOS. He licensed it to IBM, and the rest is history. Every IBM computer began using Microsoft's software, and that one deal changed everything. Microsoft went from being a small startup to a major player in the tech world. But Bill Gates wasn't just a brilliant programmer. He was a smart and fearless leader. He knew how to inspire his team, take risks, and keep pushing forward. He believed deeply in innovation and continuous learning. One of his most famous quotes is, "Success is a lousy teacher." It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. In other words, success can be dangerous if it makes you overconfident. For Bill, staying humble and always improving was key. He often reminded his team, "Never stop improving. There's always a better way to do something." But success didn't come without struggles. Microsoft faced tough competition from other tech companies, and some people questioned whether Bill had what it took to lead. But Bill never let the doubts slow him down. He stayed focused, worked hard, and kept innovating. To him, every challenge was just another opportunity to grow. By the time Bill was in his mid-20s, Microsoft was expanding rapidly. But Bill still wasn't satisfied. He had a much bigger dream: to make computers affordable and accessible to everyone, not just businesses or tech experts, but students, families, and everyday users. That vision became his driving force. He wanted to change the way people lived, worked, and communicated, and he was determined to make it happen. By the early 1980s, Microsoft was no longer a small company. It had become a leader in the software industry. Bill and his growing team worked tirelessly to develop better software tools for everyone, from students doing homework to businesses managing their operations. Then, in 1985, Microsoft launched one of its most iconic products, Windows. Windows was a game changer. It introduced a user-friendly interface that made computers much easier to use. Before Windows, most computers required users to type complicated commands. But Windows changed that with a visual system, icons, windows, and menus, that allowed users to simply point and click. Back in the early days, computers were complex machines that only trained experts could operate. But with the introduction of Windows, everything changed. Suddenly, anyone could use a computer with just a few clicks. The system was easy, intuitive, and opened the door for millions of people to use technology in their everyday lives. The launch of Windows was a turning point for Microsoft. It became a massive success, and soon, Windows was installed on millions of computers around the world. Bill Gates' dream of putting a computer in every home and office was beginning to come true. As Microsoft continued to grow, so did the competition. Other tech companies were also racing to innovate, and one of Microsoft's biggest rivals was Apple. Its co-founder, Steve Jobs, was known for his bold ideas and love for sleek, elegant design. Bill and Steve were fierce competitors, but interestingly, they also had a strange kind of mutual respect. Steve once said, "Bill is unimaginative, but he's brilliant at running a company." And Bill once said about Steve, "Steve had a flair for design like no one else. He made things beautiful." Even though they had very different styles, Bill focused on practical solutions and business strategy, while Steve obsessed over design and user experience. Both men were driven by the same goal, to change the world with technology. By 1987, at just 31 years old, Bill Gates became the youngest self-made billionaire in the world. Imagine that, a young man who used to spend hours tinkering with code in a school computer lab was now one of the wealthiest people on Earth. But Bill didn't let success slow him down. In fact, he worked even harder. He believed that success came with responsibility, to give back, to help others, and to continue making a difference. One of his most powerful quotes is, "If you are born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it is your fault." This reflected his belief that anyone can change their future through hard work and determination. While Bill was building Microsoft, his personal life was also growing. In 1987, he met Melinda French, a smart, kind, and driven young woman who also worked at Microsoft. The two hit it off quickly. They shared a strong connection and a common goal, to use their success to make the world a better place. In 1994, Bill and Melinda got married in a simple, private ceremony in Hawaii. The wedding reflected who they were, down-to-earth and thoughtful. Together they had 3 children. Jennifer Gates, born in 1996, who became a talented equestrian and later pursued a career in medicine. Rory Gates, born in 1999, known for being intelligent and private. Phoebe Gates, born in 2002, who shares her father's passion for education and innovation. Despite being one of the wealthiest families in the world, Bill and Melinda made a point of raising their children with humility. They didn't spoil them with endless luxury. Instead, they taught them to value hard work, kindness, and responsibility. Running a company as large and influential as Microsoft was far from easy. Bill often faced criticism from the media, the public, and even other companies. Some said he was too aggressive in business. Others questioned Microsoft's practices and decisions. And then, in the late 1990s, things got even more complicated. Bill Gates looked at the journalist and said, "That is the secret of my success. When I see an opportunity, I take it without hesitation. You had the chance to take this check, but you paused." Most people miss their opportunities not because they lack talent, but because they overthink or are afraid to take risks. Success comes to those who take action. At that moment, the journalist understood the lesson. Success isn't just about hard work. It's also about having the courage to take chances and act when opportunity knocks. By the early 2000s, Microsoft was at the height of its success. Bill Gates had become the face of the tech industry, respected, admired, and known all over the world. But as the company continued to grow, Bill had a realization. He wanted his life to be about more than just business. So, in 2006, he made a surprising announcement. He was stepping down from his daily role at Microsoft. Many people were shocked. Why would someone walk away from a company they built from the ground up? Bill explained, "I've been incredibly fortunate to achieve success in technology. Now I want to spend my time giving back to the world." After stepping back from Microsoft, Bill dedicated himself full-time to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This wasn't just any charity, it was one of the most ambitious philanthropic efforts in history. The foundation's goal: to give every child, no matter where they're born, a chance to live a healthy and productive life. The foundation worked on critical global issues like fighting deadly diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS, improving education systems and helping children in poor communities attend school, providing access to clean water for people living in unsafe or remote areas. Despite all the good the foundation was doing, not everyone supported it. Some people doubted whether such huge global problems could actually be solved. Others even accused Bill of using his money to gain influence. But Bill didn't let the criticism distract him. He said, "If I listened to every critic, I would never get anything done. Focus on the work, not the noise." That's a powerful lesson for all of us. No matter what path we take in life, there will always be doubters. The key is to stay committed and believe in your mission. But Bill isn't just about giving money. He's also passionate about finding innovative solutions to the world's most urgent problems. One of his biggest focus areas today is clean energy. Bill saw that climate change was one of the biggest threats facing humanity. So he began investing in renewable energy technologies like solar and wind power, and he supported safe and sustainable nuclear energy research. He believes strongly that with the right investments in science and technology, even the toughest challenges can be solved. Even though Bill no longer runs Microsoft, he continues to inspire millions of people around the world. He regularly speaks at schools, universities, and major conferences. In his speeches, he shares his journey and encourages young people to dream big. One of his most famous pieces of advice is, "Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them." Despite being one of the richest people on the planet, Bill Gates lives a surprisingly simple and grounded life. Yes, he has a large house, but he doesn't spend money on flashy cars or unnecessary luxuries. He values his family time and worked alongside Melinda to raise their children with strong values. They made a conscious decision not to give their kids unlimited wealth. Instead, they taught them the importance of humility, responsibility, and hard work. Bill and Melinda made a powerful decision. They would donate most of their fortune to charity. Bill explained, "I want my kids to have their own identity. Giving them too much money might take away their drive and motivation." This approach to parenting teaches us something valuable. True success isn't about money, it's about building character. Even as a billionaire, Bill Gates lives a surprisingly simple and disciplined life. He believes that success starts with consistent, healthy habits. Here's a look into his daily routine. Morning reading. Bill starts his day by diving into books and articles about science, history, and global issues. He believes that reading expands the mind and sharpens critical thinking. Work and collaboration. Although he no longer runs Microsoft, Bill stays actively involved in projects through the Gates Foundation. He meets with scientists, reviews progress, and helps guide solutions to global problems. Evening games. To unwind, Bill enjoys playing the card game bridge with friends. It keeps his mind sharp and helps him relax. He often says, "No matter how busy you are, always make time to learn. Learning is the best investment you can make." When the COVID-19 pandemic shook the world, Bill Gates played a major role in the global response. His foundation donated billions to support vaccine development and ensure that low-income countries could access life-saving doses. But Bill Gates' story isn't just about founding Microsoft or becoming one of the world's wealthiest individuals. It's about something much deeper, redefining what success really means. For many, success means wealth, fame, or power. But for Bill, success means making a meaningful difference in the lives of others. After stepping back from Microsoft, Bill became a symbol of hope, action, and responsibility. His journey taught the world that true success doesn't end with personal accomplishments. It begins when you use those achievements to help others thrive. In one of his speeches, he said, "The true measure of success is not how much you've achieved, but how many lives you've improved." This simple yet powerful idea has become the foundation of his life's mission. Even in his later years, Bill Gates shows no signs of slowing down. He's devoted to tackling some of humanity's biggest challenges, from fighting climate change and eradicating diseases like malaria and polio to improving education systems around the globe. He often reminds us, the future is not something we enter, it's something we create. And he invites everyone to help build a future where everyone has a fair chance to succeed. By 2023, Bill Gates had donated over $50 billion through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But he emphasizes that it's not just about the money, it's about the mindset behind it. He believes, if you're fortunate enough to find success, you have a duty to give back. Wealth should be used to solve problems, not create them. Inspired by this belief, in 2010, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett launched the Giving Pledge, a commitment encouraging the world's wealthiest people to donate the majority of their wealth to charitable causes. Since then, over 230 billionaires have joined the movement, pledging to use their fortunes to help create a better world. Bill Gates' generosity shows us that true greatness isn't measured by what you take, but by what you give. Although he's admired by millions, Bill's life hasn't been without its challenges. In 2021, he and Melinda announced their divorce after 27 years of marriage. This was a tough time for him, both personally and professionally. However, instead of letting it break him, Bill stayed focused on his mission. He and Melinda continued working together on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, putting their shared vision ahead of their personal differences. This part of his story teaches us a valuable lesson. Challenges are a part of life, but how you respond to them shapes your character. Bill often says, "Life will test you in ways you can't imagine, but every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger." As one of history's most influential figures, Bill has shared countless words of wisdom. Here are some of his most inspiring thoughts for the next generation. Dream big, start small. Don't wait for the perfect moment to begin. Start where you are, with what you have, and build from there. Embrace failure. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. Each mistake teaches you something valuable. Value time. Time is your most precious resource. Spend it wisely, focusing on things that truly matter, learning, growing, and helping others. Be curious. The world is full of problems, but it's also full of opportunities. Stay curious, keep learning, and find solutions. Kindness is strength. The world needs more compassion. Be kind, not because it's easy, but because it's the right thing to do. Bill once said, "At the end of the day, it's not about the money, fame, or awards. It's about the people you love and the difference you've made." Bill Gates' life is a reminder that anyone, no matter where they start, can achieve greatness. He was once a curious boy who loved reading and computers. Today, he's a global icon who has changed the world. Here are the key lessons from his journey. Education is power. Never stop learning. Knowledge unlocks your potential. Take action. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Start small and build your way up. Be resilient. Life has its ups and downs, but each challenge is an opportunity to grow. Give back. True success is about helping others and making a difference. Stay humble. No matter how much you achieve, always remember your roots and stay grounded. Bill Gates' impact will be felt for generations. He's proven that one person with vision and determination can change the course of history. From creating Microsoft and fighting global poverty to transforming technology and inspiring the next generation, Bill's legacy shows us the power of hard work, curiosity, and generosity. Bill Gates' life is a story of courage, innovation, and generosity. But above all, it's a story of hope. No matter who you are or where you come from, you have the power to shape your future. Learn from Bill's journey, embrace challenges, pursue your dreams, and never forget that greatness isn't determined by where you start, but by how far you're willing to go. This is not the end of Bill Gates' story. It's just the beginning of the incredible legacy he is building for the world. It serves as a reminder to all of us that we too can make a difference.